everyone. So today we're going to be using markers for this media demonstration video. This goes with our Dragonfly art lesson. You can always use whatever supplies you have at home, and many different types of supplies will work for any art lesson. But for this one, I thought it would be fun to do markers. Most people have some markers at home. As you can see, these markers that I have are just the usual, but there's a couple of things about them that make them kind of unique. So I like to mix up the brands, and I like to also mix up the colors. So for example, I have Crazy Art here. I also have Crayola. Another one that I like is called by Colorations. And so between these three brands, I have a whole variety of colors here that I wouldn't have if I just had one set of markers. So for example, you might find Crayola, like this classic set. It's great, you know, it gives you these colors, but these are just not all the colors that there are. So I recommend looking for other sets of markers. Crayola makes one that's called Bright and Bold. There's of course Crazy Art. Crazy Art has Bright and Bold also, but they're also classic. And the Crazy Art Classic is a little different than the Crayola Classic. So for example, it has this really nice deep dark green in here. So it's just interesting and fun to have some different brands just to kind of build up your marker collection. You can see I put them in this green tub here. It keeps them safe for me, and when I'm ready to use them, I know that they're there. So also guys, if you're going to add anything to your drawing at any time, always remember to add it with a Sharpie. We always draw with black permanent marker on white acid-free art paper. Acid-free art paper will not crumble, and the Sharpie gives a really bold, strong line, but also it's not water soluble. So when you color with water soluble supplies, like these markers for example, are water soluble, which means the ink from the marker is not going to smudge the ink from the Sharpie because they're made with two different materials. And that's an important thing. If you were to draw with a black Crayola, it does look like this, but then when you color, the yellow, for example, would smudge really bad with the black because they're the same material. Anyway, long story short, markers are great. All the colors you can get are great. Sharpies for drawing, very important. If you're going to change anything in your drawing, for example, if you wanted to add more lines on the wings or more designs on the body, for example, just make sure you're always adding those lines with Sharpie, okay? So guys, the name of my business is Arts Hub, which you may have figured out by now. Arts Hub is something that I created. I've been running this business now for over a decade, and it's grown and changed over the years. And now that we are doing things virtually, I have created these magnets. I didn't create them myself. I ordered them, and I love to give them out to my students and to families and to friends. So please, if you like this video, share it with your friends. Let me know. Tell me you liked it. Find a way to let me know, and I will mail you one of these magnets with a personal note saying thank you. It really means a lot to me to have your support. At the same time, I love giving you guys something, so if you want one of these, just let me know. All right, guys, without further ado, it's time to get started on the coloring aspect of our drawing. So dragonflies are, you know, can be any color. There are many different kinds of dragonflies. But what we do know is that these lily pads are probably going to be shades of green, and the water in the background, you know, it could be water in a pond, it could be kind of murky water, it could be dark, it could be blue, but it's also, you know, this is your drawing, it can be imaginary, it could be pink and yellow water if you want it to be. This whole drawing can be whatever colors you want. But what's really good is using these colors to your advantage. I'm going to get started with a couple of things, and then I'm going to do the rest of the coloring in time lapse, and then I'll come back at the very end just to say bye. So, all right. So I'm going to start with the body of my dragonfly. I'm going to start with a nice deep dark blue. And again, remember, Crazy Art, Crayola, different kinds of blues. Look at all these choices I have. I'm going to pull these out now just to show you what I'm talking about. When you have different sets of markers, you have a lot of options. So that is a really cool amount of blue right there. I'm going to start with the darkest blue that I have, and I'm going to do a little bit of outlining on the body. And so I'm not going to fill it all the way in. I'm just going to kind of recreate the shape there that's already there, but just exaggerate it a little bit. And then I'm going to add a little of this on the very tip of his tail also. Put this over here. I'm going to go in now with my lightest blue, and I'm going to just kind of fill this space up That looks pretty cool already. And I'm going to add a little bit of this light blue, just for fun, down the side here, and down the side on this side. So you see I'm kind of reversing it. I don't know if you noticed that. So I did light blue on the inside, and now I'm going to add a little bit of a different blue on the inside of this. And so this is just a way to kind of mix it up and change it so it's really interesting. And I'm not making this line super straight. I'm trying to make it a little bit squiggly, a little bit wiggly, just to add a little bit of character. And you can see that looks pretty cool. I'm also going to use this blue on his nose just to make sure it kind of connects and goes all the way up. And I'm going to add a tiny bit of this blue to the center. So one thing about markers, guys, is they dry out. And the easiest way to prevent that, can you guess what it might be, anybody? That's right, put the lids on. This lid is not on tight. You got to hear that snap. If you don't hear that snap, your lid's not on tight enough, okay? And that is the #1 reason the markers don't last very long. All right, so the dragonfly's body is looking pretty great. I'm going to do the wings now, and just because I want to, I'm going to talk about purples now. Just to show you, I love to demonstrate how different all these options are. So again, I have a whole variety here of Crazy Art and Crayola. Again, look at that. That's a lot of choices there, guys. I just love color. I hope you guys do too. I'm pretty sure you do. So I'm going to take my lightest purple now, and I am going to outline like this. You see how I'm using my marker not on the very tip, but kind of on the side a little bit. And I'm going to just do this as carefully as I can. Remember, there are no mistakes in art, guys. There's sometimes you might draw lines you don't like, and sometimes you might put down a color you don't like. And you know what? You can always find a way to turn it into something you do like. So all I can say when it comes to coloring is just slow yourself down, take your time, and don't feel like you're in a rush. The coloring should take just as much time as the drawing. And the drawing took us about 15 or 20 minutes. So you want the coloring to take at least that long. Now guys, that looks good already. I'm going to go ahead and go into time lapse now so you don't have to watch every single second. I think you get the idea, but you'll notice that I do the same things. Each area I'm going to color slowly. I'm going to use different shades of the same colors. I'm going to pull them out and show you. And in the end, we'll come back and we'll just do a conclusion. All right, friends, here we go. Well guys, that was so much fun. Look how bright and colorful this turned out. And as you can see, I put some pink in my water and made some purple by adding pink over the blue. And there's, you know, pink and purple and blue in my dragonfly. And I really think it looks good in contrast to the bright colors of the lily pads. So as you can see, I've got all my markers, not all of them, but many of them laid out here. It just shows you what these different variety packs will give you. So I've got all these yellows, all these greens, all these pinks, all these blues, all these purples, and it just gives you so much variety, and it gives you all these opportunities to combine them in different ways. So art lessons like this are fun to do over and over again, guys. They make great gifts. It's great practice for you just to kind of try it out and see what you like. If you enjoyed drawing this with me today, I hope you'll think about coming to one of my weekly classes or getting some of these videos. Each one is unique, and we draw animals, people, architecture, insects, storybook characters, all kinds of things. So it's a lot of fun. I hope you enjoyed it today, guys, and I would really love to see your artwork. So if you want to share it with me, feel free to email me an example of what you did today. All right, friends, thanks so much. I'll see you next time.